A lot of famous high-scoring games between these two clubs in the past, and it's another 6-goal thriller. That was a real battle at times.
Yeah, but in general it was a sensational game from my team, to be honest. We started extremely lively into the game, and I think everybody saw Dubravka or we ourselves made sure that the scoreline didn't get too clear. It was a super game. I loved so many aspects of the game, besides the goals we conceded. I think after all the chances we had, and then we score one, and then it was the relief was too big. You could see that the next ball was just in behind, and poof, here they go. And that you just saw what's possible if you are not spot on against Newcastle, and they're immediately there. 2-1, 3-1. Yeah, and then you saw again, okay, that's with changes, it's not that easy in set pieces, but Pete Gravett sat next to me, and so I said, who was it? Burn, bomb, and here we go. So twice not awake, but besides that, an unbelievable game, an unbelievable atmosphere, and counter-pressing wise, it was for football schools, I have to say. You have to watch that, and you have to take that, and you have to keep it, and it's unbelievable how we went for them. So it was everything good. I told the boys half time, I would say, besides the scoreline, it should be fun, this game, because it is really a really good game, and so we just have to keep going, and that's what the boys did, and all good.
Well, you can feel how delighted Jurgen Klopp is there. He says that the school should watch that game for counter-pressing.
Yeah, the counter-pressing, actually, of this last month has been excellent, even including the Man United, Arsenal, West Ham games, exceptional. And when we spoke to him before the Burnley game, he indicated that he's seen it in training, and he feels as if the players are starting to get to a certain level of fitness where they're all locked in on the counter-pressing now, and everybody's getting it, even some of the newer players who were signed in the summer. So he's been really pleased with that aspect of his game. Of course, going forward, they've always been exceptional. They're always going to score goals, Liverpool. They're an incredible team to watch now, aren't they, at the moment? You certainly get your money's worth with them.
That is the winning manager. Here's the other side of the story. The 7th time in 8 games, the Newcastle boss, Eddie Howe.
Eddie, that was pretty much a roller coaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a lot happened, action-packed game. We're disappointed with the way we defended for especially the last 2 goals, the build-up to them. But I didn't think the second one was a penalty, and I thought Sean Longstaff's one was just before that.
Yeah, I asked Martin about some of the decisions, the 2 penalty decisions. He obviously was watching the ball and obviously can't comment on it as much, but as a manager, what can you say about that?
For me, that shouldn't be given. I think Martin's pulled his hand away. I think he just has had 2 steps before he's gone down, so for me it's not a penalty. Sean Longstaff's one was, just before that incident. The first one, even the first one, I can see why it's given, but the contact was so minimal, so yeah, we feel hard done by on those decisions.
Has he got a point?
Well, on the 2 Liverpool ones, as we've already said, there's definitely touches on both of them. It's what side of the fence you sit on, whether you think... Lots of people think, oh, he's touched him and he's gone down, so it's a penalty. And then there'll be the other side of people that say, well, unless it actually brings you down, then touches that. It's football.
So let me ask you this question.
Game.
Eddie Howe's obviously got this point. Does it matter if it isn't the first stride of when someone goes down? So if that's you in that situation, you're caught, and you then take another couple of steps, as Jota did, and goes down, does that matter?
Well, they're the 2 scenarios that I was sort of explaining. It depends what side of the fence you sit on, really. The answer is, both of them, the attackers could have stayed on their feet, both of them. But, you know, it's how you interpret them. It really is. And this is no different to how it's always been. You know, it's always been the same. And the problem is, unless you go down, you will never get a penalty. And sometimes you'll get hit and you'll stagger to your feet and stay on your feet and you'll miss the chance, and it's compromised your ability to score the goal, and the referee won't, you know, so... And you ask a referee. I've asked hundreds of them.
What about them?
You ask them.
And as Michael said, he was expecting goals early in that second half. We only had to wait 4 minutes, and perhaps after what happened in the first half, it was no surprise that Salah was the one who was going to score it.
Yeah, absolutely. There were so many chances in the first half. You just couldn't imagine there weren't going to be any goals. It was a bit of a counter-attack, really, from Liverpool. Right from the back, a long ball, layoff from Nunez, and then cutting inside Diaz. I thought this was brilliant, though, from Nunez. Some people would shoot. Maybe Mo Salah would shoot. I don't know. But he lays it on a plate, and it's a nice little tap. And
he would have shot if it was the 89th minute and he was on a hat-trick. He would have shot.
Yeah. But from left to right, you know, spreading the Newcastle defence. There was a little question mark about offside, but that clearly showed it. And a really nice, unselfish pass and a tap in for Mo.
Yeah, and a milestone goal, as I say, Macca. Only the 5th player in the entire history of Liverpool Football Club to get to 150 league goals.
Yeah, that's an incredible achievement, isn't it? You know, for we've said it before, for a man who authentically plays as a winger, really, you know, you see him, he's out on that touchline all the time, receiving the ball, and to accumulate that number of goals is, well, it's a wonderful statistic, really, and he should be very proud of himself because he's been an absolute superstar for Liverpool, as we've said on a number of occasions.
Yeah, Newcastle came back a couple of times in that second half. Just over 5 minutes later, Isak silenced Anfield with the equaliser.
Yeah, it was a lovely finish from him, wasn't it? And it was a very strange goal when you see it. It was almost in slow motion as they play the ball forward. You see Virgil van Dijk has him in his eyesight in between Konate, and he gets across, but I don't know whether it's just he's a bit deceptively quick, Isak, but he gets around the ball to open his body up. And he finishes it off really, really well. Onside, as you can clearly see. And you think Virgil's just going to run across and get him. But he gets enough time to open up. And you see this finish here. Just almost scoops it with almost his toe past there, Alisson into the far corner of the goal. It was a lovely finish from him.
Yeah, Virgil van Dijk, he had the option, didn't he, to stand and play him offside or go early and snuff out the danger. He sort of didn't do either, did he? And that gave him the opportunity, and as Macca said, it was a lovely finish. How
much did you enjoy the build-up to the way Liverpool responded to 2-1 here?
Yeah, it was very good. In many ways, I thought it was going to be quite similar to the first goal for Liverpool. Unselfish play. It was a lovely through ball from Mo Salah. But as you say, the build-up was good. Jota made a big difference when he came on. This was a lovely weighted ball from Salah, and again, everyone was expecting a little dink over the goalkeeper, but to have that awareness when you're looking towards the right-hand side of the pitch at the pass and at the timing and timing your run and everything else, to understand what's in behind you as well, was brilliant. This is just a mark of the player. Little glance there and lays it on the plate.
Yeah, Jota gets the assist, but it was the ball from Salah, really, wasn't it? Again, that's the ball that cuts open the defenders, and it was a simple enough finish for Curtis Jones, but he has to make the run himself. The fact that he was in there, in that spot, you know, you have to say well done to him as well. It was a lovely move by Liverpool.
Yeah, and it was Mo Salah's goal as well for the other substitute, Gakpo, to create a 2-goal advantage at that time.
Yeah, this was a very strange goal. Defensively, it was poor. I thought the last goal actually was poor defensively for Newcastle, and they're in a good line. There, you see the 4 defenders, and then Mo just hits it with the outside of his left foot, almost curling back towards Gakpo. And everybody's standing arms out, all the Newcastle defenders, thinking that there's going to be our offside. And it's Botman's left foot. You can clearly see the line of the pitch is keeping him on. And he mishits it, yet he's still got the time just to roll into an empty net. Again, you know, Salah was a little bit frustrating in the first half. And then he ends up scoring 2 and virtually, you know, getting 1.5, getting 2 assists on the game. It was extraordinary in the end.
As I say, it's brilliant to watch Liverpool, isn't it? But you sense they're always going to give the opposition a chance, and Botman made it 3-2. Is this a soft goal to concede defensively? Yeah,
there will be disappointment. I think every time you concede a set piece, it's frustrating. The smaller players are there to block, and they didn't really do much of a job blocking. And actually, it's Jota that is the one that's ending up, well, if anybody is trying to attack it, I think it comes off Botman's shoulder in the end as well. But they will be disappointed. But Liverpool have got a fantastic defensive record this season. There's one that they should be very proud of. But any time you concede a set piece, there's always an inquiry, let's say, after the game, and you know, because they are things that you can prevent. You know, great football, sometimes it's hard to defend, but most of the time, or virtually all the time, you should be able to stop a set piece.
Now, it didn't matter in the end because it was the fourth goal and they obviously won by 2 goals. But there's a huge debate at the moment over this penalty for the 4th goal, Diogo Jota.
It was a lovely ball by McAllister. I don't know, firstly, why he just doesn't score himself. There's contact by the goalkeeper, but then he goes down 2 strides too late. So, again, once it's given, because there's contact there, Steve, and there is contact, but then he stays on his feet and then falls over. So I don't know what was going through his mind. It'd be interesting to see what it says. Once Anthony Taylor's given it, it's not a clear, not obvious error because there's definitely contact. But, yeah, I'm slightly bemused himself because the contact's there. Why doesn't he fall over there? But he has 2 more steps and then jumps. So it was...
Could he have even retrieved the ball?
I think he could have.
I thought he was going to just tap it in.
Yeah, he might have thought, oh, my touch is a little bit too big, I'll go down instead and get a penalty. For me, it's exactly the same as the first one in terms of Diaz. It's the same type of decision. No question, the elbow of Dubravka contacts, with Jota. I think everybody can see that. There's an elbow here. I think it's the left elbow of Dubravka's coming in now. There it is.
Yeah, he catches him
bang, there, onto the foot. So there's definitely, but 2-3 strides later, you can see he throws himself to the floor. So, and it's exactly the same with the first penalty with Diaz earlier on. He can stand up as well. But, as I said at half-time, when players get touched, a lot of the time now, they think, right, I'll go down. Because if he stayed up, a penalty. So, call it a dive. Yes, he is going down too easily, but he has been touched. Yeah. And put it this way, VAR aren't going to change because they've seen a touch and he's gone down. So what can you say? I suppose you've got to give a penalty. Right, it's a little bit... I don't like the taste in my mouth, when I say it, but I did the same. If sometimes I would feel a touch, even if I could stay up, if I thought a better chance of a penalty, and it's a split-second decision, a lot of time you might get it wrong. But if you feel someone hit you, why should I stagger to my feet? Why should I stay up if you're illegally hitting me? Now, some people will say, well, it's, not every touch has got to be a foul. You shouldn't go down unless you have to, etc. And I totally understand all that. But
yeah, if the goalkeeper doesn't touch him, he just rolls it into an empty net. But the fact that he's lost his balance slightly and he mightn't think I'm going to get there, well, then it's a penalty. Yes, he goes down late. As Michael said, he throws himself to the floor, but it's still a penalty.
Is that your presumption? He thinks he couldn't get there?
Well, probably. Otherwise, he would have just carried on and rolled it into the empty net himself and gets the goal.
It's such a split second.
Yeah, it is,
It's a split-second decision as well. You feel it, and as soon as you get touched when you're in the box, you're automatically thinking, he's diving at my feet, I'm waiting for a touch and then I'll go down. But then you see the ball is... And then, it happens too quick to really make a good decision. So
there's sometimes when someone's come flying in at me and I've jumped over them when I played and lost your balance. There's no contact, but it's a foul because the intent is there to try and get you. The fact that I'm jumping out the way to try and save myself from injury doesn't mean it's not a foul because there's no contact that's being made. So that's the same. He thinks he's not going to get there, but the contact was there. Otherwise, he would have rolled it into an empty net. If the goalkeeper leaves him alone, he scores. The goalkeeper's brought him down. The only thing we're talking about is the fact that he fell probably a step and a half too late. That's all we're thinking about. But otherwise, I think it's a penalty, I really do.
OK, well, you mentioned the goalkeeper. Let's get his version of it. Here is the Newcastle keeper, Martin Dubravka.
The 2 penalties that Liverpool had, were they fair decisions as you were right in front of them?
I don't know. I didn't see that. Obviously, need to look if especially the second one. From my point of view, I trying to actually put my arms and not trying to catch him, but it's up to the referee. So I don't have to agree. But at the end, it was a penalty, so I can't really do much with it.
Well, he doesn't agree, and perhaps you wouldn't expect him to. But what I will say is 10 saves tonight, the most of any goalkeeper in a Premier League game this season.
Yeah, it broke virtually every record in terms of chances and things like that. We saw 6 goals, which is fantastic to see, but it really could have been more, especially from Liverpool's point of view. They definitely could have scored a couple more, and that man was in inspired form to prevent it. Of course, they missed a penalty as well. Mo Salah in the first half. It was incredible how it was 0-0 at half-time. We expected a few goals. We didn't expect 6. But it was a Liverpool Newcastle of old, let's say, always entertaining games, and it was great to see.
And no surprise that Salah stood up again, having missed, to take this penalty.
Yeah. And he couldn't just thrash it like he did the first one. He shows a little bit more guile here, doesn't he, and just places it into the net, of course. And When you see him send the goalkeeper the wrong way, it's always a nice feeling for Mo. But he had an inspired second half, he really did. Manager not looking, as you said before, judging the crowd's reaction, knew it went in. You know, you hope that the penalties don't overshadow, you know, what the overall game was about. Liverpool were extremely dominant today. Extremely dominant. They had so many attempts. It was arguably the man of the match if you don't want to give it to Salah. So you don't want to just talk about the penalty decisions, but there's Mo's numbers up with exalted company there, isn't he? And in Roger Hunt and Rushy and Billy Liddell and Hodgson. I mean, it's just phenomenal numbers.
Yeah, and that's his farewell game for a period of time. We don't know how long, but a reminder to those watching, if Egypt get to at least the semi-finals of the African Cup of Nations, then up to 8 games in League and Cup Mo Salah will be missing.
Well, I do think that the performance of Diogo Jota there has relieved some of the tension, let's say, amongst the Liverpool staff, players and fans, because he made a difference when he came on. And they've got players back. Gakpo came on and scored as well. Of course, Diaz and Nunez started the game, so they've got options. Everybody's fit in those positions as well. So if there was ever a time that you had to lose them, then probably at any point of this season, now's the time.
OK, let's hear from the manager whose team are top of the Premier League. Here he is, Jurgen Klopp.